Welcome to NOLA. Let the good times roll. In this episode, we are going to be driving down Bayou St. John and then whip back around and do a little tour of City Park. So there are a lot of people out enjoying Bayou St. John during the COVID-19 Coronavirus pandemic lockdown. There are many people doing many activities out here. There's people just enjoying the banks of the bayou, and others are actually enjoying the water itself with kayaking and fishing and otherwise. So this will be an interesting trip to see what everybody's up to today. If you look right there to the left, you can see there's a whole lot of people on the other side of the bayou. That's because there's a lot more green space on the other side over there. So here we are to the right, Parkway Bakery, famous po' boy spot is located. And Bayou St. John actually runs all the way out into Lake Pontchartrain. And in the past, the bayou actually ran all the way down as far as the Central Business District, right next to the French Quarter. The commercial use of Bayou St. John declined and totally ended in the early 20th century. Now this area is just a park for the most part, and it's only used for recreational use. Now if you look ahead and see that big structure with a dome on the top of it, that is Our Lady of the Rosary Catholic Church that's up ahead. There's quite a few watercraft out there in this area. That large white building ahead with the flat top is Cabrini High School, a Catholic high school for girls. And that blue bridge ahead is a pedestrian and bicycle only bridge. It's over a century old. That is called the Magnolia Bridge. Sometimes they call it the Cabrini Bridge because it's right there next to Cabrini High School. Originally that was used for streetcar traffic to go across, and it would rotate so boats could go through it back in the olden days. Coming up on Esplanade Avenue here. So to the right would be right in front of the fairgrounds where Jazz Fest is. On the right-hand side out of the video, we are going to be going past Deutsches Haus, which is the German cultural organization. That's the main clubhouse in New Orleans proper for celebrating German culture. A lot of people have brought their folding lawn chairs to enjoy this section of Bayou St. John, and this is a really nice part of Bayou St. John as you can look straight across into City Park in this section right here. so far, very few tourists still seem to know our little secret of Bayou St. John, and it's usually almost always locals in this area. Now, at Deutsches Haus, we will have tourists that go to events there like Oktoberfest, and then out in City Park, there's various events people will go to, like the Voodoo Music Festival, and then Jazz Fest will have some people spilling over and parking around this area. But in just a typical normal time, it's virtually all locals that hang out in this area. In the slower summer times when we don't have as many festivals around, and most of those that we do have will be in the French Quarter. There is the Seafood Festival that's held over in City Park, but that usually doesn't attract too many out-of-town folks. That's a lot more local people. But even then, this area here still seems to be a little locals' paradise for the most part. Okay, we're going to hang a left and go into City Park. You can only go down a little bit further on the right side of the bayou there, and then you have to turn around. You can go further up on the left side. There's a lot of trees. It's kind of hard to see in there. I will put the views of that up in my other video of the GoPro time warp of Bayou St. John in City Park. So I'll leave a link to that in the description below. Now on the right there, we have City Park. And City Park is a very large park with a lot of things inside of it. We are going to go down here and turn into the New Orleans Museum of Art, which is in City Park. One of my earliest memories of this park is standing in line multiple times to get in to see the King Tut exhibit. And after multiple events of standing in line, we finally got in there. I have strong memories of that line stretching way back to the street. So when I was a kid, the line for King Tut went all the way back to here, and I just remember looking down at how far away it was, and it was a really long, slow line, multiple times until we finally got in there. This museum has a lot of nice rotating exhibits, and they also have events that happen throughout the year. And there's so many things in City Park to do and that are useful and educational. They have the sculpture garden back behind here. They have the brand new children's museum. There are many other areas and places. It's such a huge place. There's so many things out here. So you can see the sculpture garden coming up on the right there. The Louisiana Children's Museum, brand new location, is on the left right here. Here we're coming up on Scout Island, where they have a lot of athletic fields. This is from my rugby experience, where we would play summer sevens and practice for our summer sevens, along with a lot of rugby tournaments would be held out here in City Park. You can see there are a whole lot of people out here, which with the whole COVID-19 pandemic quarantine, that is, good for people to get outside, get a little sun and fresh air. And if you look at the bright yellow flowers over here on the right, they have all these wildflowers that an organization plants. And every spring we get a rainbow of colors of wildflowers that pop out throughout the year. So different times of the year we get different colors of flowers, and they kind of rotate and change those out yearly as well. So it's always fun to go see what's going on with the wildflower section in this part of City Park. It's really beautiful to go out there. You can wander through the flowers. People like to go out there, as you can see, and get pictures made with the flowers. And it's just a beautiful day today, just seeing what a scenic sight that is, with a beautiful sky against all of those beautiful flowers. And there you can see there's also a patch of wildflowers on the left too, so they definitely take their wildflower planting seriously here in this park. Okay, we're about to hit the exit to City Park. There's still a lot of sections of City Park that you haven't seen, and a lot of Bayou St. John you didn't see. So make sure to check out my Bayou St. John City Park GoPro Time Warp video. The link will be below. If you would like to follow me on Yelp, I have thousands of pictures and reviews on there. You can also follow me on Instagram for more photos. And please like this video and subscribe to the NOLA channel. We would also love it if you would help us out on Patreon and help the channel continue to have more content produced. Thank you very much.